Hello everyone, and welcome to the Cabin Factory. An anomaly hunt style horror game with the unique twist that it's also something of a work simulator. That's right, this is our job. Basically, we need to take cabins into our warehouse and try and determine if they're haunted. This is something I've wanted to play for a while. I was following it a while back, and I actually hadn't realized that it released back in December. But I am here now, and very excited for this. You'll see why in a moment, though. I guess we're on our way down.
Welcome to the Cabin Factory Corporation.
Greta.
At the Cabin Factory, we pride ourselves in creating the best hyper-realistic horror cabins for the movie and theme park industries. Starting today, you will be one of our cabin inspectors. Congratulations! Due to a recent legal dispute that falsely claims some of our cabins are haunted, it's now mandatory to inspect every cabin to ensure the safety of all users. It's important to highlight this claim is untrue and that we have had 0 cases of serious anomalies proven to be the corporation's fault. We're positive you will carry out these inspections thoroughly and professionally. From the whole Cabin Factory Corporation family, have a wonderful first day as a cabin inspector. By entering this elevator, you have accepted all the terms of your contract, which may be updated without notice.
Awesome. Well, Greta, an old lady in a plaid shirt, that is the kind of person you'd want inspecting your cabins for quality. But that's interesting. We're essentially a prop warehouse or a set warehouse, and there are claims that they're actually haunted. It may be dark, but the skylights betray a huge space. Look at this. Okay, let's get this done. Ooh, that head bob is a little much. Wait, can we change that? Head bob intensity? Let's drop that way, way down. Jump scares on. Oh my! Okay, it's working. Oh, wait. Let's apply. Great start. Clever girl, clever girl. Now, there's a clear button and a danger button. And presumably, if the previous ones are anything to go by, we need to get through 8 in a row. Inspect the whole cabin. If haunted, turn back immediately and press danger. If safe, press clear. Any movement means the cabin is haunted. If nothing moves, it's not haunted. It is so wild to see an entire cabin moving on a conveyor belt. Are you kidding me? So maybe we're not looking for differences. Maybe it's just looking for movement. Alright, we don't have the means to explore around here. I love the juxtaposition of the imagery here. Because this cabin looks like something you'd find deep in the forest in some dark grove, having no choice but to nervously approach and see if there's anyone inside that can help you. But it's been transported here into this sterile industrial environment. And yet somehow that does nothing to take away from the fear. It just makes it seem like a prisoner staring at you from its cell. Well, let's have a look. It actually reminds me a lot of Ted Kaczynski's shed in The Lockup. It's setting the mood for us, as if we're finding it in the forest. Alright, now remember, if anything moves, it's haunted. Hi there. That portrait looks oddly lifelike, doesn't it? I almost thought it was a mirror at first. It does sort of look like our character, which is a little disturbing. Hey there. The fact that you're here might suggest that this is haunted. You're completely frozen in place, though. Are you maybe a prop, a mannequin? There's a little room here that we cannot open. What if we go upstairs? See, the funny thing about this is that it is for a movie, presumably, so it's kind of set decorated. But it certainly helps add to the creepy vibes. I think I might need a little bit more brightness. I made it just a bit brighter, just so that you can actually see. Nothing seems to be moving, but also, of course, some of these anomalies may be very subtle. It's actually kind of strange that even the curtains don't billow, given all that wind we can hear. It is so weird to be in this atmospheric little cabin, look out the window, and see that. It gives it almost a liminal or even SCP vibe. I'm gonna say that that one is clear. That's how we're gonna learn. I guess that's good. And this one looks much the same. You're still there. I don't imagine we have to interact with anything. Our crosshair will turn blue if we do. I don't remember if we could see the flames animating before. You're sitting still. You know, having actual human objects here makes it feel like a stare down, like I'm just waiting to see your finger twitch, or your eyes dart up towards me. And we can see you moving. So even though this is supposed to be a movie set, props are not supposed to behave that way, and it's the cabin which breathes life into them. Okay, so this one is haunted. Danger. I wonder what the consequences are for getting it wrong.
Fire that burned a family alive took place in an isolated cabin in the woods. 2 bodies were found calcinated on Sunday evening after 3 hikers noticed a huge column of smoke and immediately called 911. When emergency crews arrived just minutes later, the flames were still burning. According to our sources, a family of 4 lived in the cabin, a mother, a father, and their 2 children. The police confirmed the bodies found on the scene belonged to the parents. The 2 children, a 10-year-old little girl and her 6-year-old brother, have not yet been found in the surrounding areas. The chief of the fire department announced the search operation will continue and said she has hopes of finding them alive. It is still unclear how the parents got trapped inside their own cabin, but the police have found clues that may indicate the fire was intentional. A criminal investigation is ongoing.
This may be constructed for entertainment, but I get the feeling this is based on something very real.
The brutal fire that burned a family alive.
Now here's the question: is does the radio count as an anomaly? I mean, surely it's not supposed to be playing. But there is a bit of a story to this. In fact, it kind of reminds me of the Legend of the Charman. I did a video on that years ago.
A mother, a father, and their 2 children.
Alright,
The police
what
confirmed
are
the bodies
we...
found on the scene belonged to the parents.
We have to
The 2
gamble on
children,
whether we
a
think
10-year-old
that the
little
radio
girl and her
counts
6-year-old
as a
brother
haunting.
have not yet been found in the surrounding
It's not
areas.
movement, but
The
it's
chief of the fire
definitely a
department announced
difference.
the search operation.
No, it doesn't count. Alright, let's start from the beginning. Well, that wasn't here before. There's something walking around upstairs. Look at that. There's a little piece moving in the entryway. You're coming towards me. You're an invisible thing coming towards me. In fact, we can see ourselves moving down there, and we can see a short outline standing in front of the door on the right. Okay, if we move quickly, maybe we can get up there. We haven't seen anything moving. We haven't seen anything moving, but something definitely is. I would definitely feel confident in calling this haunted. So get out of here. So it can really be any number of things. We gotta make sure we pay close attention to these details. Radio not playing. We'll remember in the future that that doesn't count. Like,
everything is gonna be fine, but we have to get away from them.
little... Wait. I may have just gotten spoiled by the achievements. I'm not sure if I should say what it said. We have to get away from them. And here's the boy up here. That is going to be very confusing. I'm going to be finding anomalies and second guessing what actually counts the whole way through, I bet. But we are getting more story. The parents were afraid of them. Fire does not count. Now, if this is anything like other anomaly hunt games, it's possible that there won't be repeats of events. Hey there, you. You're not gonna let me out until I do this. Well, we've been set up for a jump scare by a child. Let's just go. Oh, a basement. So this aspect will only open up sometimes, kind of like the basement in 10 Bells. God, what is the matter with her? Is she, like, disciplining the boy? Wait. Broth, rice, chicken, potatoes. 3 + 2 = 5. Greta. Were they homeschooled down here? Fire. They even had their own little hopscotch drawn down here, but it seems like their world was extremely isolated. Greta and Hans. Would they be locked in the bathroom for misbehavior?
What do you think you'll find outside? Absolutely nothing. You want to leave, Greta? That's totally fine. But your brother will stay here. And he will not be happy when he hears you abandoned him. Leave and abandon your poor mother.
Saw something in that flash there, but okay, that was what I wasn't sure if the interface had spoiled. When I saw the girl under the stairs, I got an achievement saying, find little silent Greta. we were that little girl. We're seeing echoes of something that happened in our past. Okay, no, 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 go, 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 go. Run from our own mother at work. I think we can call this haunted. Imagine somebody up in an observation post watching us bolt out of here. We would never be able to explain what it was we saw. So weird to see something like this move that quickly. Wait, what are we up to? Just one. We're learning as we go. In fact, this one is quite a bit more narrative focused. Also quite a bit more horror focused than some others I've played. Just watching those eyes. But it's got to be movement. It also helps to listen out for strange sounds, because if something is making noise, it doesn't necessarily indicate a haunting, which is bizarre, but it could indicate that there's something to look for. You can't just go down to the basement at will. God, just imagine what she would be feeling in a situation like this. Maybe then it's not a coincidence that every cabin looks the same. I'm gonna say that this one is clear. How is... what? What was it? This is gonna be aggravating. Okay, what's new? I feel like I just heard a thud. See, the incentive in these games is that you want to get scared. Not only because that makes for great content, but also because if you find something, well, you have a confirmation. If you go out and say clear, you don't know if you missed something. But I'm not seeing anything. One of these days I'm gonna have to try just like mashing a button and see if I get it. There we go. Okay, well that's definitely anomalous, but I don't think I can count it yet. Which does mean that we have to come in and just sort of see it through. I saw these giant animals when I came in. I don't know why I was surprised by more around the corner. You're much bigger. And I hear what sounds like an occasional dragging noise. But I'm not seeing any movement. From what I understand, this should be oddly safe. So let's do it. Yeah, that's bizarre. Okay, so let's try this. It's haunted. It's haunted. And the other one, I suppose, was not. Still, I suppose you could make the argument that they're all haunted, considering, well, they're showing us our past. Specifically reaching out to us to show us our traumas, our regrets. Maybe this whole place is haunted. Maybe this whole place isn't real. Anyway, it's dangerous. But also, there's a staircase right here beside the elevator. We can't open the door, though. Let's try it then. I'm just waiting for the subtle one to be this blanket moving. I mean, it's lumpy, but I can't tell if there's a person under there. I suppose a short person could be. So there's Dad. Hans is always upstairs. That leaves Mom and Greta. Not seeing much. You weren't there before. Okay, so you're something that's changed. Oh my god! Yep, there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go! Let me out, let me out, let me out! So I guess we could also just die. I actually have no idea what would happen to our progress if that happened, but thank you for making it easier for me. Danger. Imagine that thing starts moving, she loses her footing and falls over. There's just kettles and jars falling off the shelves. Oh my. That instant darkness the second we step onto the porch, it's so creepy. And now you're just not there altogether, like you were always watching me. A frozen scene though, you're not moving. You were placed under the stairs, maybe as punishment, and they're bringing you your bread like a prisoner. That's all you had to eat. We're seeing a still scene of what life was like, but it is a still scene. Although you seem to be glaring at me as I enter. It's almost as if you're reacting to someone coming in, and you're turning over your shoulder to see what he sees. Okay, is there any movement on you? I'm expecting to find knees swaying at some point. It was the first thing I noticed when I came in here, is that these should be blowing in the breeze, but they're not. Even the motes of dust hang in the air. I'm gonna say that this one is safe, and be really annoyed if it's not. There we go. You're back in your place. Look at that, a hand reaching out from under the bed, and from the sleeve, it seems like yours. You were a real terror, huh? I read a creepypasta a while back about, like, a step aunt or mother or something like that who would actually just hide under a kid's bed to try and scare them. And that may seem like a dumb prank, but I mean, just imagine how traumatic that is, being afraid of them in that way. Because it's not just the scare itself, it's about A, not being able to trust them, but also not knowing what's going on in their head. And I'm not saying that's what happened here, but I couldn't help but think of it. Anyway, that one is a danger. I wonder if it's going to do that thing where after we beat this, it shows us a list of anomalies and gives us an opportunity to find them all.
The brutal fire that burned a family alive took place in an isolated cabin in the woods. 2 bodies were found calcinated on Sunday evening after 3 hikers noticed a huge column of smoke.
We've had you already.
Called 911. When emergency crews arrived,
But because we got you wrong, you may be back in the rotation.
According to our sources, a family of 4 lived in the cabin: a mother, a father,
I'm gonna keep
and
looking
their 2
around
children.
though. Last time you were
Confirmed
safe.
The bodies found on the scene belonged to the hopes of finding them alive.
I'm
It is
gonna
still
say
unclear
that
how the
this one is
parents got trapped
safe,
inside their own
unless the
cabin.
radio can
Police
spawn
have found
independently
the fire was
of whatever's going on in the
criminal
cabin.
investigation.
Yes, okay. I think we win if we get this one. Hey there. We know that's anomalous, but it doesn't give us all we need. Why were you looking in from the outside? Also, you could try smiling once in a while. I don't see any movement. But now is when we need to be very, very careful. I'm just waiting for the moment your eyes will twitch. I'm really afraid to do this, but I'm gonna say that this one is clear. It doesn't seem right, but I'm gonna do it because I can't find any movement. There we go. We did it! We faced our inner demons! And now we can go into the light, accompanied by these physics bouncy balloons. Huh, well, I finished that fairly quickly. This is probably the fastest I finished an Anomaly Hunt horror game. If it allows us to go back and get the rest, I will absolutely do that, because this is super cool. Good job. It's time to go home. Your cabin factory family. This really was hyper-realistic. Oh, that's the end. Oh, okay. I guess we needed this catharsis. Ah, so that's a shame. If they hadn't died, they had a serious career as a performing family in their cards. Well, that was the cabin factory, and I don't consider myself done yet. Let's get back in there. Ooh. And neither does the game. Cabin Inspector, finish the workday. Well, this apartment certainly looks cozy. This would be one of the most cathartic endings possible if I had been stuck in that for a bit longer. I mean, not that I wish to get stuck in one of these Anomaly Hunt games, but I feel like we didn't even get to complete the story. Still, we look like a tired person, someone who's seen some things and could really use this. I also guess there was more voice acting that we didn't see. And look, all these years later, we still have our frog. I should have known. And that comes right as I notice this photo. Both metaphorically and literally shutting the door on our past, showing that we'll always think about it, but maybe we can rest assured knowing we did the right thing. Ah, there it is. 28 left. So there was a lot we didn't see. No reason not to finish our job. We are nothing if not thorough, and hey, a country liver, we like to take pride in our work. Let's go. This game is really, really cool, and I love how it's telling its story. It definitely was open to us beating it way more quickly than we probably should have, and as a result, I don't know if we're getting the experience as intended, but I really, really like these ones that have the focus on horror and story rather than on the challenge itself, because that tends to get really annoying. Let's see what's there. I also think it's funny that the only jump scare we've really had so far, other than sudden chases, is when we enable jump scares. There's our movement. Now, I don't know, the only reason I'm continuing to look is because I don't know if it'll show other things at the same time. For a horror game too! I You actually were out there. That one followed us out of the cabin, suggesting that this is really more of our way of dealing with this, rather than an actual job. I think that one's haunted there, Chief. There we go. Hey, I just noticed you guys up there. Well, I guess we are being supervised. They don't look like anyone we know. I feel like I deserve credit for that. I had to try it at least once. Let's have a look. Sometimes we have to advance inward because things might change behind us. Alright, I think this one's clear as far as I can tell. If not, getting set back isn't really a problem here because it means we can see more things. There's little silent Greta again, and we need to mark you as clear. That's what you were the last time. That was what tripped me up before, was that it's not any anomaly, it's only the ones that we physically see in motion. This is just such a unique premise for a game, too. My old self hiding from myself in our childhood home. Like, the personal connection to this makes it so much better. And the way this feels like just a cool, zany job at first, and you slowly start to feel that weight pile on as it goes, it makes the imagery also gain further impact as you go. Does you moving relative to me count as movement? It does. You're gone? And It's darker as well. The oven is closed.
What's your emergency? I see, sweetie, but I'm sure they love you. Being a parent can be really hard. Is there anything I can help you with? Are they there now?
You're gonna chase. That was horrifying. It seems like the father was not great himself. He certainly didn't object to what was going on. But Mother was the real horror here. Like, most anomaly hunts I played have some dark truth that you're trying to get to the center of by the end of it, obscured by the mechanics. There's usually some personal connection in there. But I really enjoyed the bait and switch that it gives you here, how it starts off as, like, a work simulator, but then we learn very quickly that it's a personal horror story and that framing may not actually really exist at all. Not only that, but it allows it to have that clash of imagery. Like, it really screws with your head. I've also noticed the light in that room isn't on. I don't remember if it was before. Clear. We're about to beat this all over again. How many left is that? Still 23 left. I'm just waiting to see breathing from under these sheets. And the head bob may make that a little bit difficult to detect. I'm counting that as movement. Oh no. There's the fire. We should probably get out of here ourselves. You watched them burn. You didn't just run off into the woods. I'm sorry, but if that isn't worthy of a screenshot, I don't know what is. I mean, it makes sense. They were horrible. You were doing the right thing. You were protecting your brother. But in that moment, you had to have been second-guessing yourself, second-guessing that would have carried with you your entire life. Only through here's the real door. Danger for sure. But even as we win, it'll just keep on going and reset the counter. That is agreeable. Can we bring some balloons inside the cabin with us? Maybe that's all they need, is a little bit of festive cheer in their lives. Oh no, the door will close if I back away. It's weird, I'm playing an anomaly hunt game where I actually wish it had taken me longer to complete it. I mean, granted, the story itself is fairly simple, and I did figure out what was going on pretty quickly. But simplicity doesn't mean a bad story, because all this is telling a really simple story, and it keeps finding different ways to make us feel why this is so significant, why this has followed this character. I mean, it is all about presentation and scaring us along the way. Ooh. Oof, ouch, owie. And we lose. Sort of. And that means we're probably gonna have to get that one again. I was trying to see what was behind the door. There's you again. You got me before. Wait, no, now there is no button. So maybe some of these you simply can't. Oh no, we have to run for there! We have to run all the way out! How'd we go? All the way out before we declare this one a definite danger. The post-it note is anomalous too. I saw it change. It's also just a cool small difference that where in other games it's forward for fine and backward for not fine, here we always come back to the same place and we have to make a decision. You turned to look. I didn't see if that was a snap or if you actually did it. Wow! Okay, we've got some poltergeist activity in here, and I did see that move. Dangerous. I love how I'm like stepping onto the platform before it's even done moving now. Like, yeah, I'll go. Things are looking a little inverty in the decor here. It's all the rage now, but personally I'd go for something different. Only the frog is upright. We can't really step up here. Is there anything moving? I don't see it. I'm gonna call this one safe. It is. Doesn't feel safe, but it is safe. Every time you come in here, you know what you'll be looking at, but you never know what you're gonna get. That cloth, it's not there before. And little Hans isn't here. Okay, you're moving. Just don't chase me, please, because I've been chased by myself. It's also interesting how you can see something as innocuous as a child in a rocking chair, and through the game's mechanics, the correct response is to slowly back out, walk over to the button, and press danger. That is kind of the strength of Anomaly Hunt games, is that you can appreciate scares that don't necessarily have to move you along to another level segment. You can appreciate scares that can be very small in nature or anywhere in between. It's just about coming up with different ways to get you. These games are really allowed to be very creative without any of the limitations or, I guess, boxes they need to check of regular horror games. That door is open. That door is open and it's going to be our problem very soon. Yep, movement, movement, movement. And that movement was us. I think the thing that's most interesting about this is that when the Exit 8 came out last year, you guys begged me to play it, and I played it, and it was interesting, but I didn't really like it. Or rather, I didn't enjoy playing it. I was kind of frustrated by it, and I didn't really find it, scary at all. And then I played a few more Anomaly Hunt games, and I also didn't really enjoy the gameplay of those. But I found that the last few I've played, I actually have enjoyed, both in terms of scares and gameplay. They've gotten less frustrating, and they've got more meat on them now. And that frog is going to choose something. Let's find out if his tastes are any good. No, let's play this out. While we wait for that, what I was going to say is, this is a brand new genre, and we're starting to see it evolve. We're starting to see it find what it's good at. Where before, it was just kind of the bare concept, and now people are starting to play around with what can be done with it. Come on. Are you just gonna float back and forth? Are you gonna go back to Froggy? You're not gonna actually put something on? Come on, it's, time period. What would this be? Well, we're an old lady. That's an old TV, but that appears to be a VCR down there. So, I don't know. It could be HR Puffnstuff, or it could be Thundercats. Who knows? Either way, this is a dangerous cabin. Sooner or later, I'm gonna get chased by that frog. I'm gonna call this one clear. I'm gonna call this one clear? No, there was something there. I have no idea what it would have been. The issue is that once you start getting down lower, they start to become a lot more subtle. And we've done all this, and there's still 2 full games worth of anomalies left. Staring at your reflection in the TV. Although in this case it looks less like a reflection and more like there's another you clipping through the bottom. I mean, we are ourselves. Presumably we came out well adjusted, but we haven't gotten any word on what became of you. That's not going to count as a danger, though. Let's try this. You count as clear, but you also count as an anomaly, so... Alright, that's actually really cool. It gives us an opportunity to see things even if they're not necessarily a danger, because it still counts as its own configuration. That's just the one thing I really regret. Like, this is a cool one, but just due to the way it progressed, the pacing is going to be really weird narratively. And the thing is, that always has the possibility of happening with these anomaly hunts. I've never had it happen this quickly before, but there's always the possibility that you beat it in the minimum amount of time possible. You could get all the obvious ones in a row. I don't know if it was just my movement or if I saw your eyes move. And that little head bob, that little bit of movement, definitely doesn't help for examining for more subtle things. Okay, well, here's you again. Here's you again. One of the only actually good little girl scares in a game. I mean, it's so overplayed in horror, but that worked because it was an actual chase, and you definitely weren't there. You actually got our attention with the giggle. In other words, it had all the components they usually try, but here it was just a bit more impactfully done. They're all coming for me. Wait, oh, There's not going to be any way out of this. I couldn't see that until I got all the way up there. There was no way I was getting out of that. Oh my god. You literally look like somebody went ham with the Gary's Mod face poser, but unfortunately, I can't actually count that as danger, even if it does look dangerous. There, immortalized forever. How do you like that? All of you are here. I swear, if you all break into a sprint and start chasing me. I don't see anything else, though. Well, glad we never have to see that again. And you guys don't have to see this at all. Like, what even is your job? Why do they have 2 people watching 1 person do the work? I think this one's probably going to be clear. It can be very difficult to tell. I mean, if there's things hiding in the dark, that'll make things real complicated. You're gone. You're gone. We've never really found out if things changing while we're not looking counts as movement. Yeah, there you are. There you are. There you are. And your eyes do follow us. I'm gonna call that danger then. Somehow that's even worse than you chasing us. I mean, that figure from our past, the representation of all our trauma, just watching us at work, disapprovingly. See? Huh, I guess she really did like the family photo I took. Cropped it to just herself, because that's the kind of person she is. But if you like it for yourself, you should like it for everyone. Nothing there. You're not gonna come out and start chasing me, are ya? Because if not, we can mark this one as clear. Go. Only 10 left. We are making excellent time. I've only been recording like an hour. Here's the big stuffed animals again. But didn't I get this right the first time? This shouldn't work. You shouldn't be in the rotation. Never mind, there is a difference. You all came to see what was going on. I mean, as in most stories like this, the stuffed toys saw everything. I'm gonna call you a danger. Okay, so things moving off screen does count. That was one of the big points of contention in the Steam forums. Hey there. There's something about your face in particular, well, my face, I suppose. I mean, there's something about it where it almost seems like you're looking at me sadly, but with some compassion. It's not even just the expression, you have that kind of face to you. Like you've seen some things and you're tired, but not a bad person. Let's call that danger. She's getting carted away like, yeah, thanks. You're watching me. You're watching me, which means you're a danger we can get rid of. Goodbye. Only 7 left. We are, if nothing else, hyper efficient at our job. I really feel like we should get a raise. You're out there again. See, that's the cool thing, is that some of these have variations. Wait! Seen you out there before. Okay, jerk. Let me just pick the broken glass out of my eyeballs. Hope you trip when this thing takes off at Mach 5. And one more. Can we beat this game a 3rd time in one sitting? Looking to see if these cabinet drawers will open and close. Once again, looking at the curtains, any fabrics? You again. Alright, let's go. I do wonder what our relationship with our brother was like after this. He seems like he would maybe be too young to understand this stuff at that age. I mean, we were barely old enough ourselves, but once again, like, we have no idea what his picture is afterwards. Hey, we get more balloons! Yeah, if we stay here long enough, we could fill this place up, make them exhaust their balloon budget. Where are these even falling from, anyway? In the house. And just that abrupt transition, like, we see this thing roll down the line under the bright lights. We step onto the porch, it immediately dims, we get inside and we hear that wind. I mean, the best way I can describe this is suffocating. It's suffocating being in here. Hi there. That is a danger. It's strange, we have actually a very similar face to our mother. Maybe that's a big part of why there are so many mirrors in this game. Maybe we eventually reach the point where we look in the mirror and see her. Maybe that causes some self-doubt, that maybe if she was so horrible as to do all this, and we were so horrible as to do what we did, then maybe we're not so different. Of course, that's not the case. Because when we look at ourselves, we see sadness. When she looks at us, it's a very similar face, but there's a smirk. Okay. Of course, I can't help but see you following me when I look side to side, looking specifically for that. Doesn't seem to be any difference. Alright, I'm gonna call that clear. It wasn't. So there's something really subtle that I'm not seeing. And it's really annoying me. Thankfully, there's only a few left in rotation. And the thing is, I could just, like, press danger sometimes on a gut feeling, but I don't want to do that because then I won't see what the anomaly actually is. Howdy, Greta. Don't pull my hair as I pass under you. You too, always getting up to your little pranks, like pulling hair and burning the house down. If nothing hits us on the way out, though, I'm gonna call this clear. There we go. No, I don't know what's not there. Whatever's left, it is some minuscule difference, some very small movement. And I just can't see what it is. Maybe it's just too... well, it's this again. And we're... How am I supposed to get out of here? Because there's something on the stairs right away. All members of the family are in play during that scene. I mean, we could always just kind of airstrike it from outside. But we would have to guess that that's what it is. At this rate, we would actually get them all just by button mashing, but obviously where's the fun in that? This frog appears to be growing before my very eyes. And then it'll start to go back down. Okay, well, there's one we haven't seen before. This one is very dangerous. Like, if this thing ever got out, that would be a threat to the entire world. Only 2 left, and there are 2 really annoying subtle ones. Or, no, there's the really annoying subtle one, and then there's that House of Horrors maze. I wonder which one we're gonna get right now. It's either clear or annoying subtle one. Ah, look at that. The mug is moving across the table. Okay. So that's a danger. Which means that the only one left is the House of Horrors, which means we can just keep airstriking and rejecting them until we go. Nope. There we go! But it didn't count. So we have to actually experience it. Is that it? Yeah, no, this one's gonna be clear. Anything that isn't the maze is gonna be clear. We gotta figure out the pattern. Yep. So, you're gonna come up, we gotta wait for you. You're gonna come inside the front door. Let's just watch for a while. We got Hans on the stairs, Greta walking through the kitchen. Mom and Dad in the living room. Once Hans is there, Greta will keep moving and turn around. There's gonna be a very brief window where we have to slip by on the right. But not right now, because you're out there now. Or maybe? You go there. We should now be able to exploit that window. Go through! Come on! I got stuck on geometry! Oh, nope. We actually didn't get hit. Okay, there we go. Danger. You're done. The true ending. This thing only knows how to end in dance parties. Employee of the Month. Yes, we most certainly are, because we not only beat the game, but did all anomalies in just under 90 minutes. Even the Employee of the Month sign was balloons. And now we're being reassigned to the back rooms, I guess. To be continued? What do you mean to be continued? We overcame our trauma. And I guess that made us perfect for examining anomalous entities? Who cares? That was a lot of fun, and it didn't take itself too seriously. It's actually riding a weird line where it takes its story seriously, and so in that way it doesn't impede its own horror. But it's not afraid to have a little fun in the meantime. In any case, that was a really fun one, a really spooky one, and even though it was simple, for $3 I really can't complain about anything. That was good. It had a really unique premise that was just begging for this genre to come along, and the gameplay, while it did change a bit from other games of the genre, I don't know if it always worked out. Like, there were some things that were kind of weird, but once I got used to the changes, it played very well on its own. We can erase save data to go back to the beginning, but I guess random mode is probably just endlessly giving us the different scares. But yeah, that was really, really cool. It was a classic example of the genre that had its own twists and turns and wasn't too frustrating. I mean, that's really all you can ask for of a game of this style, is to scare you along the way and introduce a few unique ideas of its own to bring the genre forward, and it definitely did that. And if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this game out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one.